Hello, 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 and happy Wednesday. Whoops, I'm supposed to be lowering what I'm doing here, not raising it. Anyway, super excited to be here with you tonight. It is Wednesday on February 25th, 2026. Love the number order there. Anyway, if you're tuning in, excuse me, if you are tuning in, feel free to take a moment to share, like, and comment on our conversation for tonight. Now, obviously, if you're seeing the background that you're seeing where it says Holistic Healing Magazine, that means I am here and I'm going to be having a beautiful conversation with tonight's one of our authors from our November issue from 2025. And I'm sort of going back in time to bring those contributors out to share with us who they are, what they do, and to introduce them to you as well. And for those of you who don't know who I am, surprise, surprise, I'm Reverend Dr. Joanne Angel Barry Cologne. I am the founder of Holistic Fitness NY and also the founder of Holistic Healing Magazine. I serve, help, and transform women over 40, helping them to release emotional weight without dieting, while holding space as they gain confidence and courage to step away from their 9 to 5, outdated relationships, and old subconscious beliefs so they can fully embrace their soul's calling. The W in holistic is about the whole person: your mind, your body, your thoughts, your emotions, your soul, and spirit. All that being said, I'm super excited to be here with you tonight and really excited to bring one of our author features on with us, Mr. Jamie McDonald. We're going to bring him in and he's going to go ahead and introduce himself.
Hello there.
How are you? Jeremy, rather, not Jamie. Jeremy. How are you?
I'm good. Good. Thanks for having me. And yeah, my name is Jeremy McDonald, and I'm the author of The Sovereign Mindset, and been doing this work for longer than I care to count. So probably I'm getting close to 28 years, getting close to 30 years. So.
I love that. I love that. I love that. So tell me, besides the fact that you've been doing this work for as long as you've been, tell me a little bit about your journey as an author.
Yeah, that started in about 2006. I lost a really good job and realized that I was pretty miserable in that job. And I said to myself, well, what is it that I want to do? And I said, well, I'd love to be an author and be a motivational speaker, because I'd been a corporate sales trainer. And at that point in time, was a vice president of a mortgage company. And so I've been in sales and collections and training sales and collectors. And so I'd always been part of motivating and coaching people. But at the same time, I'd also been in the healing world and the body, mind, spirit world, almost parallel to that. So I said to myself, I'd like to write a book, and I'm going to write a book. Well, that took me 6 years from that point to write that book. And finally, just one day, it just started pouring out of me in 2011, going into 2012. And so I finished my book 3 weeks after my mother passed away. So that book was called Peace Be Still. And I went on a 22-state book tour after that, very shortly after that, probably about 6 months after the book came out. And then it took me 13 years to write this one, because I have a vow that I have to live the book before I can actually write it. And I was in collaboration books. I think you and I were in one together with Rich Parsons, and I've been in several other collaboration books, but this is my second one by myself. And I've read textbooks for corporate America, but for some reason I just could not write this book, and it's because I wasn't ready. And so now this one, just like the first one, just poured out of me within about maybe 3 months. And I'm already working on the second one that'll come out next year, or this year, later on in 2026. So, but that's pretty much it. There was all these blocks. I wasn't really good in grammar in school. I got a C in college in grammar, barely passed it in high school. But as I got going down professionally, I got better at it. Earned my master's degree, did my thesis, all that kind of stuff, because I took classes and just really tried to better myself in that area of grammar. So it was a lot of blocks on, could I do this? And so that's what my work is all about, is all those things that you say you can't do or that you felt you couldn't do. but you really feel like you could or you want to, I'm the one that's here to remind you that you're more than you think you are. So, and that's what this next book is about.
I love that. Now, being that it took as long as it took for the first book, and then of course the second book, would you say a lot? And as you mentioned, that a lot of it is based on your experience before writing it.
Yeah.
Would you also say that a big part of what you do is also channeled as well, or is it really experience related?
Yeah, because a lot of my stuff is channeled. I've had teachers and mentors, but a lot of my stuff comes from just sitting in meditation. So, and then I have to go out and live that because I have to get it grounded into this into this I guess way of thinking. So when I speak on stage, people ask me if I channel, and the answer is yes, because I never prepare to go speak on stage. And so it just starts to flow through me, and the energy of the audience of who I speak to is really who kind of raises my frequency or vibration, because it's we just kind of go into that oneness state. And so the same thing happens with the book. It just really just starts flowing, and I call it total recall. Like I'll remember when I meditated on this like 7 years ago, and then it'll pop into my head, and so then it'll just start coming out on paper. And so, yeah, there is a certain amount of channeling. And I think the idea is that I channel it, then I go live it. I channel it, and then I go live it. And Spirit's constantly telling me, I don't know why you're doing this. You know it's not going to work out, but go ahead and do it anyways. And then I'll go through it and I'll learn the lesson why Spirit told me not to do that. And then that's part of things that goes in the book. It's because, like working too hard, or when it says you need, the Spirit says you need to rest, you need to take some time for yourself, when then you end up being sick, and then you hear that inner voice going, well, I tried to tell you. And so, I had a message in 2023 that I needed to go get a health checkup. And fast forward 7 months later, I worked, and you were on a couple of my events, and I ended up in the hospital.
Oh.
So now since then, I've been working out and walking, 10,000 steps a day, and I've lost like 60 pounds. And, but it took that. I say we have to go through life. Everybody's looking to avoid those things happening, but there's a time and place where it says, until you're ready to see it, you won't see it. I mean, you could, somebody could stand with a foghorn in front of you and say, please stop and do this right now. It's very important. You wouldn't see it. Matter of fact, you probably get annoyed with it. And so that's just how our psyche works until you're ready to see it. So you have to go out there and live it, and sometimes fall down. And so that's kind of like how I channel and go through it. And then I go to experience, because I don't necessarily like a lot of the channels where they channel all this ascended master stuff. But then I'm like, okay, well, how do I apply that in life?
Exactly. And it's like you said too, in reference to when you're receiving the message where, you heard you need to rest, and obviously you didn't, and then shortly afterwards you ended up in the hospital. You also needed the experience.
Yes.
And through that experience, you had lessons from it that you can then share theoretically with your audience in your book, based on the fact that you did it the way you wanted to do, as opposed to saying, hearing Spirit, where Spirit said you need to rest, and that you actually did what Spirit was asking you to do, as opposed to doing it the way you chose to, and several months later.
Yeah, and I've learned too. I mean, I'm still just as busy, but like this last Sunday, Spirit said, lay down. You don't have to speak at a church. You don't have to do anything. Go get in bed. So I stayed in bed, and I binge watched Netflix. And so I didn't think about anything. I didn't get in front of my computer except for one small little thing. And the reality is, because I've been going nonstop since, probably October. And then I was in Fort Lauderdale for almost 3 weeks. And so it was, I was away from home. And so that's what happens. Your body finally just says, if you don't rest, you're going to get sick, or something's going to happen, or you won't have clarity, or whatever it is. And it's called, we always think we have to be doing. And then some of us think we only have to be being, and it's really, you just have to do. You have to it's kind of a balance. You have to sometimes do.
Exactly.
Be.
Exactly. And more importantly, and Jeremy and I were actually chatting about this before we came live, is the two of us are going to be celebrating birthdays next week. We're both Pisces, so we are both very sensitive and very attuned to when spirit does speak to us. And being that we just had this massive shift with transits regarding Neptune moving out of Pisces, where it's set for the last 14 years in our home, where it's really comfortable because Neptune is its ruling Neptune rules Pisces, and now that it's left and it's in Aries, I know for me, I'm feeling extremely tired from that shift where I'm very conscious of, okay, I'm going to take a nap. I have literally scheduled naps into my day so I can go, whether it's literally to fall asleep for 15, 20 minutes, just so I can rest and do the things that I'm doing. So this way here, I'm not hearing spirit say, you need to go rest, because I'm already doing it. So I'm ahead of the game. Otherwise, yeah, spirit would be saying to me too, you need to go rest. Because as Pisceans, we are very known for the constant go, 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 go due to the work that we do. So it doesn't surprise me that you're binging on different TV shows right now because of this shift that just happened, and it just recently happened. Neptune just moved into Aries roughly 2 weeks ago, and where we also had Saturn sitting in Pisces as well, which just moved out of Pisces. So I don't know if any other Pisceans are feeling this energy where everything moved out of our house, and now it's like, okay, so we're tired. So, but I love the fact
the Schumann resonance is very high right now too, so most people don't realize.
Yes, which, again, when we think about this energy, it is really about, we're also feeling it in our bodies as well, which is another reason why it's so important that when spirit is saying go rest, that we're resting. Otherwise, yeah, pretty much what Jeremy's saying is, if we don't rest, it will eventually lead into some sort of illness because our body's being ran down. So not just for Pisceans, for everybody, it's really important to, if you're going to do, make sure you're having some rest. Otherwise, eventually it's going to kick you in the butt.
Yeah.
So all that being said, being that you were featured in the November issue as one of our author features, and if you, what I'm going to do is we're both going to take our virtual screens off. So I'm going to show the magazine, and then Jeremy's going to show his book as well. So we're going to remove the back screens.
Okay.
Hopefully mine works. There you go. Sometimes mine gets a little funky. All right, so there is Jeremy's book. So again, at the end, when we're done with our conversations, Jeremy will let you know where you can purchase his book. And we will also, at some point, put either Jeremy or I will put the link where you can purchase the book in the Facebook comments, so people can go ahead and purchase. And the magazine issue that he was in, and I'm going to just show his feature. Got to go find it, usually in the front. That's usually how I work it. So we have him right here. And then, of course, his amazing my layout for this one is not the way I expected it to be. How come it's not the way I expected? I'm the one that does the magazine. There we go. Trying to get the layout. There we go. So for those of you who have not ordered the November issue and you would like to learn more about who Jeremy is as an author, get his book. I will also put the November's issue link in that you can go ahead and purchase that as well. So just some great fun questions for you, Jeremy. As an author, now you've been writing for how many years now? I know you said that you've had this gap of time between one book to another for your own solo books, but as a writer, as an author, how long have you been writing? And
well, I mean, professionally, I guess now 20 years, because I mean, I've wrote the 2 books. I've written in probably 5 collaboration books. I've well, it has been 5 collaboration books. That's just in the spiritual self-help world, and then in the business world, I've written countless textbooks, and I've been doing it for a while in magazines and articles, and that kind of stuff. So it's been a little while. And you know what's interesting? The more you do it, you get better at it. The more confident you get at it. So and then that's what anything if anybody has a fear of a grammar, that's what editors are for. So
Yes, yes. So if somebody was just coming into this field as a writer, thinking about wanting to um, publish a book, like what would be your like main 3 steps you would encourage that first time writer looking to publish a book?
well, first of all, just realize that your message is something that somebody out there wants to hear. That's the big one. So don't put down your message, because countless times where I didn't even think my book was that great, I've had, even with the book I wrote in 2012, I still have people emailing me saying, your book changed my life. And so that's a pretty good feeling. And so whatever your idea is, do it. Now, the second thing is, you have 2 options. You can either self-publish or you can publish with a publishing company. I always suggest going with Ingram Sparks or Amazon, because it gives you more control. But the third thing is write your ideas out. And so, start to write them out on paper and start to get them clear in your mind, especially if you're doing fiction. You've interviewed you featured my friend Jesse a few months back, and he actually spends hours and hours and hours writing out his character development. Now, I'm self-help, so I don't have to do character development, but there's nothing wrong with doing an outline. The outline can change as you're going along with it. I mean, like I mentioned, we talk about I channeled the book, but I did still write out an outline of at least the chapters. So I got a clear understanding of what it is that Spirit wanted me to put in this book. And otherwise it becomes this dinosaur. And then the last part of that third point is do it in small bits. You don't have to write the whole book overnight. You do it in small bits. And guess what ends up happening? You get inspired every day. Somebody will say something to you and it'll inspire you to write. Go sit down and write. Or if you can't do it right then, record it or write it down so you don't forget it. So those are the things that I would say.
And when it comes to the writing part, whether it's for the book or just writing for you, and also if someone's asking, how much time should someone want to sit if they are looking to write a book, if they're doing a magazine article? What is the timeline that you would give yourself to devote, whether it's an hour, 2 hours, to writing what it is you're writing?
I gave myself an hour, a minimum of 5 days a week. And that was usually during the week after work. And there's a reason, because on the weekends, guess what you want to do? You want to go with your friends. You want to spend it with your family. You want to go and be at the beach, or you want to do something else other than thinking about that. And some people say, well, I'm too tired after work, or I have my kids and I have all that kind of stuff. Well, find something that works for you. But I would say 1 hour a day, even if you just sit and stare at that computer or you stare at that journal, you make that commitment at that time every single day to write or do something. Even if you write 1 sentence, you've done something. And what it does is it tells your creative side, we have a date. We have a date at this time on these times every week. Maybe it's Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, or maybe it's whatever works for you. You've got to make some time for yourself, because otherwise it's just will never happen. And what I will tell you is that non-action means nothing happens. But taking some action means that you will create a momentum that'll build on that. And so that's what ends up happening, is people just wish for things to happen, and they don't happen until you actually start working. Even with, funny enough, I know you're a fitness trainer. I did this years ago because I wanted to get in better shape. I literally just, because I said it enough time. Well, I would set aside time every day for almost a month, where I just sat on the couch and imagined myself at the gym, because it became a habit that every day at that time, it would be about fitness or getting my mind in that mindset. And finally, when I went to the gym, it was easy. It became a habit that was my date every month. And some people think I'm crazy for that, but I had to get my mind in the mindset, because the mind is the biggest thing that blocks you from everything. And so, and when your mind is set to where now I walk 10,000 steps a day. And it's one of those things where if I don't do it, I start to go, and I don't really take a day off from it, because I know if I take a day off from it, I'm going to go, then it'll be 3 days off from it.
Yeah, exactly.
I may not go to the gym every day, but I at least walk every day. So.
Yes. Yeah, and I love that idea of sitting for the month, every day for a month, and setting the mind, the intention behind going to the gym, because again, everything starts from the mind. It's the thought first. It's having the idea, and even sitting and visualizing yourself going for, if you're going to the gym to get on machines or working with the free weights, whatever, visualize yourself actually doing each thing that you're going to do, so that you get that inspiration to say, I'm going to go do it, because now you're creating that idea in your mind. And I know at a while back, I was at a workshop, and it was when the fad at the time was about like manifesting, like if you could think it, you can do it, and you can manifest in your reality. And there was a lot of questions about, well, if I just said and visualized it in my mind's eye that I'm working out, will I get the same benefits of working out? They still have not yet clarified whether or not that's actually true, that someone can just think about it and gain the same benefits. In any case, the reality of it all is, as long as you're thinking about it, you may get motivated enough to actually go and do it. So yeah, I love that idea of doing just that. I do have a question again, going back to your writing, and you might have answered the question, but you might have actually just said it based on just general stuff. When you first write, are you literally writing in a notebook, pen to paper, or are you on the computer typing it up?
I actually did it on the computer. Now, some people recommend doing it on paper first because it's easier and it's more personable. But even though I'm a millennial, I mean, I'm turning 52 next week. I've been on computers since I was 12 years old. So, back in, you probably remember this, the Tandy TSR-80 and the Commodore 64, back in those days we had the floppy disk. But I mean, to me, computers are just second-hand nature to me. And so I don't have the same idea now. I have a friend that he's in his 80s. He still handwrites his books. And he's been a New York Times bestseller. He handwrites them, and then he has to pay somebody to transcribe them for him. But that's different. It's a different generation, a different way of thinking. But I just get on, and I have a Google Drive folder that I just put all my writing in. So
yeah, so I tend to, when I first started writing books, it was all handwritten. I can't tell you how many bins of notebooks I have from all the handwriting books and magazines and articles that I've written. And then I would say maybe a year and a half ago, obviously I wasn't carrying notebooks with me outside, although I used to. I then just started using my phone, going to my email, and typing up whatever it was I was focusing on writing on, and put it into my email. And then when I was ready to go home and put on computer, I would take what I wrote in email and send it to myself, and then copy and paste it right onto my document, which again, in my mind, I was like, wow, this is like really amazing, because I'm not handwriting it anymore, and I'm saving us a lot of time, because I'm doing which in a weird kind of way, I'm not handwriting, but I'm still typing on the phone. But I do go back and forth between the two, in reference that sometimes, depending on where I am, I have that notebook and pen and I write. And then other times I'm writing on my phone. I very rarely ever write like directly in reference, like the first scratch of it all on my computer. If I'm using my computer to type something up, it's already something that I've written, and I'm sort of copying it. So that's just my style of writing.
Okay.
Which is fun.
I think whatever works for people, they should do. And so try it in a couple ways. If you think it, like a lot of people have a journal and they start writing out ideas. And I know Jesse keeps a journal with him that where he gets an idea, he writes it down. And he's got drawings and everything else. And I know other author friends that they do similar things. They literally draw out the character so they can visualize it, and it's visualized in paper. And it makes the characters come alive for them. So, I mean, look at Tolkien. He wrote an entire language for different, the hobbits and the elves and stuff like that. So, I mean, these are things that whatever you needed to do to develop your world, do it. And so then you get in there and you start writing. So.
Yeah, and there's really no wrong way for anyone to do their writing, as long as they're doing their writing. So whatever works for them to get it onto the paper and possibly into the book and into the reader's hands, that's the goal that we have here.
Yeah.
So I'm excited about that, and really excited about your book. And you've already mentioned that you have a new book coming out for next year already. I'm assuming you started working on that.
I have, yeah, and it's going to have, each chapter will have a meditation that'll be attached to it. So I'm actually working on a studio right now to record that in. So that'll be a really cool extra benefit, because people are always asking me to do meditations, and so I'm like, well, we'll just attach it, because next one's going to be called The Sovereign Heart, and very similar to The Sovereign Mind, but this will be about healing the heart. So
Nice, nice. So can we safely say that the way your mind works is that you're putting out a book every year?
yeah, that's the goal. My publicist doesn't want any more than one a year, but she said any sooner that was going to be too much. And I agree with her. It also gives me a time to get it done.
Yes.
And you know how it is if you don't, you've got to write the book, then you got to go through the editing process, then you got to go through making sure the cover is done, the photo shoot for the author photo, and all that kind of stuff. And it's there's a lot more into it than most people realize.
Yes, and then of course all the other things, your book signings, your speaking engagements, everything and anything in between to get that book out there and in the right hands, right?
Yeah, the books don't just fly off the shelf.
No,
I wish
not
they did.
at all.
It would make a lot of
yes, exactly. Now I know we're here to speak about your author feature and of course your book, but I also want to just put a little light on it as well, because you mentioned it briefly before, that you also are the founder and host of I think it's a summit that you do.
Yeah, I am the founder and host of the Intertemple Symposium, which you've been on as a speaker, and we'll be having another one of those in April. So it's myinnertemple.org is the website, but it's outdated right now, so it will be updated here probably middle part of March. I usually try to start working on those about a month before that, and I always have something going on. I have 2 cruises in 2027, and so it's a lot of work, but it's very joyful. So
yes, it sounds like you keep yourself very busy, and I'm very grateful for you and appreciate all that you do, and that you were able to find some time to come here with me and talk about all that you do with your writing and share what it is you're doing and all that you're putting out into the community. So again, just let our listeners and viewers know how they can reach you, how they can get your book, and anything else you'd like to share as well.
Yeah, best way to get a hold of me is to go to my website. It's pretty easy. It's jeremymcdonald.net. It's just my name, JEREMYMCDONALD, and then .net. On my website, you can get copies of both of my books, but especially this one. On the very first page, you'll see this book pop up as soon as you come on it, and then you can sign up for my email list, and then links to all my social media is there, as well as anything else, access to the television show that I'm launching on Ethereal TV. There's just a whole bunch of stuff about me on my website. So hope to see you guys there.
Yes, yes. And for those who are interested, for our March issue, which is coming out next week, Jeremy is going to be our cover feature. So he's going to be back here, and him and I will be chatting it up again, talking about that issue as well. And again, for any of the issues, if anyone has missed a beat, missed a page, you can always go over to my website, which is Holistic Fitness NY. And all of the links to every one of the issues are there. If there's one issue specifically you're looking for, just reach out to me, and I'll be more than happy to getting that link to you. And I want to just say thank you again, Jeremy, for being here. Thank you for dedicating your time, your energy, your wisdom to putting it all into books, and being willing to listen to all the messages that come through for you, so you can put the information into the book. So I appreciate that, and I appreciate you as well. So for now, we're just going to send Jeremy backstage so I can conclude. So Jeremy, don't go away. We'll be right back with you.
Perfect. Thank you.
All right, there, guys. Thank you so much for being here with me. I want to give a shout out to all of you who are here, my dedicated viewers, Miss Ann, Haley, and everybody else who I'm not seeing behind the scenes. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Keep your eyes and ears open for the upcoming issue, which is the March issue, which will be coming out next week, next Wednesday. Matter of fact, it's actually the day of my birthday. And just a little side note for those of you who don't know, we just literally printed out the 1-year anniversary to Holistic Healing Magazine, which was the February's issue. If you did not get a chance to check out that issue, please let me know and I'll send you the link for that. And for those of you who are interested in being a part of the magazine, I'm always looking for authors. So if you know an author, feel free to send them over my way. If you know anyone that is doing anything magnificent, I'm always looking to spotlight people. And also, we have Mother's Day coming up, so I am looking for 10 amazing moms that you can nominate to get featured in the May issue as well. If you are an expert in your field and you like to write about it, come talk to me about becoming an elite contributor to the magazine. All that being said, I look forward to seeing you all the next time I'm here with another one of the contributors. Bye-bye for now.